led the Catholic Church for 12 years, steering it through a period of change, died on Monday morning. Well, Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, who led the Mass, said the Pope:
Mentre la luce della Pasqua illuminava il secondo giorno dell'ottava, lunedì dell'Angelo, l'amato pastore della Chiesa, Francesco.
Something about Pope Francis' last public appearance felt off. When he addressed the crowd, his frailty was obvious, but there was something more in the way he spoke those 9 words as if it was a quiet farewell. Was he hiding how bad his health had really gotten, or did he know something we didn't? What he said to the nurse near him will give you goosebumps. Could he have been trying to send a message from beyond the grave? Let's find out. Easter Sunday, April 6, 2025, started with clear skies and bright sunlight pouring over St. Peter's Square. Around 60,000 people packed into the square, waving their flags as choirs sang and church bells rang loud enough to be heard far away. TV cameras from all over the world captured every moment, but if you looked closely, something felt off. There was a strange tension in the air, like everyone could sense that something wasn't right. When Pope Francis finally appeared, pushed out in his wheelchair, the feeling only grew stronger. He looked extremely pale, much more fragile than anyone expected. His smile seemed forced, and when he lifted his hand to bless the crowd, it shook badly. People started whispering, "Is he okay?" Some wondered if he was hiding how sick he really was. His eyes didn't have their usual warmth, instead, they looked heavy, almost sad, scanning the crowd like he was searching for something or someone. Then he spoke. Very softly but clear enough for everyone to hear. Let us all pray for peace in Gaza and Ukraine. That was it. Just 9 words, no long speech, no cheering. Just a heavy, chilling silence. Some in the crowd began to cry, others stood frozen, feeling like they had just heard a final goodbye. Behind the scenes, things got even stranger. Vatican staff later said that the Pope had insisted on changing his Easter message at the last minute. One-eyed even said he kept saying, "This is what I must leave behind," like he knew it was the last time he would speak publicly. He had thrown out his planned 20-minute sermon the night before and replaced it with those 9 careful words. Why? What was he afraid to say out loud? As soon as he finished speaking, Pope Francis was quickly wheeled back inside the Apostolic Palace. He didn't wave much, he barely smiled. One sharp-eyed journalist noticed that as he was being pushed away, he placed one hand over his heart and gripped the armrest with the other. It looked emotional to most people, but insiders said it felt like a secret signal, a quiet goodbye. Later that day, the Vatican only put out a short, strange message. The Holy Father is resting after the service. No real updates, no medical reports, just silence. That's when rumors started flying. Was he about to resign? Was he much sicker than anyone had admitted? One trusted eyed said after Easter he canceled almost every meeting for the week. It's like he didn't want anyone to see him anymore. At around 6:30 p.m., Pope Francis returned to his simple apartment away from the grand halls of the Vatican. He ate a small dinner with just 2 people, his personal nurse and his secretary. No visitors, no guests. Even his closest advisors were turned away. Someone nearby said they heard soft music coming from his room, something old and meaningful. Some said it was Bach's sacred songs, others said it was an old Argentine hymn from when he was a young boy. Whatever it wasn't random. It meant something to him. Then, around 8 p.m., his personal confessor came to see him. The priest entered the Pope's room and the door locked behind them. For 45 minutes, no one knew what was being said. When the priest came out, he didn't talk to anyone. His face was pale, and he left immediately. What had Pope Francis confessed? Was it a simple confession or a huge secret? Late that night, while the Vatican slept, Pope Francis made a shocking choice. He refused to go to the hospital. Doctors begged him, but he firmly said no. He didn't want machines, wires, or IVs, only mild painkillers. Sitting up weakly, he told his nurse, "This is my place," meaning he wanted to die where he had lived and prayed for 12 years. Was it pure faith guiding him, or a quiet plan to control his final moments? His nurse, who stayed through the night, later said he smiled as he slipped away. At 7:35 a.m. on April 7, 2025, as dawn lit up his room, Francis took his last breath. Soon after, the Vatican rushed into action, following ancient rituals. The Camerlengo confirmed the death, smashed the Pope's ring, and stopped the Vatican clock for 88 seconds, one for each year he lived. But then, things got strange. Eyes were seen slipping into his study. One grabbed a sealed envelope from his desk, another noticed a Spanish-labeled file on his nightstand the night before, gone by morning. Final messages? Warnings? The Vatican stayed silent, only deepening the mystery. Behind closed doors, Francis had been struggling for years. A missing lung from his youth, brutal nerve pain, and weakening health after surgery in 2021 left him barely standing. Still, he kept traveling the globe, hiding his pain. He once said, "When the Lord calls, I will go," brushing off worries. Looking back, it feels almost like a hidden goodbye. Insiders say he carried his suffering alone, almost treating it like a sacred duty. His nurse once whispered he barely slept. Breathing was hard, but he'd still say, "Pray for the world, not for me." Was he shielding the church or making a private deal with God? Unlike John Paul II, who suffered publicly, or Benedict XVI, who resigned, Francis stuck it out. Some believe he saw his pain as a teaching for the church. His final whispered words, "Forgive them, Lord, as I have tried," hint at heavy secrets he took to the grave. And then came one final shock. Instead of the Grand St. Peter's Basilica, Francis requested burial at St. Mary Major Basilica, a place for pilgrims, not princes. Conservatives were furious. Was it one last message telling the church to drop its obsession with gold and power? On April 14, 2025, 500,000 people packed the streets with candles. His plain wooden coffin was carried by cardinals through Rome. No gold, no velvet, no fanfare. Just a man living quietly. His tomb under 5,000 candles simply read, "Franciscus Servus Dei Francis, Servant of God." Sunflowers covered the ground, a bright living goodbye, but the questions never stopped. The sealed envelope, the missing file, the strange movements before dawn, was it all just chaos or something planned? Was Francis warning us of something we still don't know? When Pope Francis passed away on April 7, 2025, the world didn't just mourn, it felt like something cracked open. In Argentina, people flooded the streets with sunflowers and blue and white flags, crying like they'd lost a father. One man selling coffee in Buenos Aires whispered he was the only leader who cared about the poor. Across Italy, millions stopped everything to pray, from little villages to the busy streets of Rome. Even people who weren't religious, atheists, Muslims, Jews, found themselves lighting candles. It wasn't just sadness, it felt like the whole planet had lost its voice of peace. Online, it exploded. 500 million posts filled social media, hashtag Papa Francisco trending faster than any hashtag since the pandemic. Photos of him hugging refugees, kissing disabled children, and standing quietly in war zones were everywhere. His last Easter plea, "Pray for Peace," kept popping up under every picture. In Manila, candlelight stretched for miles. In Nairobi, people sang through the night. It was the kind of unity you usually only hear about in fairy tales, but behind all this love, a strange ripple started to grow. By the end of April, there were whispers, over 200 miracle claims. A child's cancer disappeared after visiting a Francis shrine in Brazil. A blind woman in India said she could see again after touching his photo. It sounded too wild to be true. Yet the Vatican, famous for being skeptical, stayed silent. No investigations, no comments, just silence. That silence made people even more convinced something big was happening. Over 1 million signatures poured in demanding he be made a saint immediately. A Roman nun was quoted saying he was already holy while alive, but not everyone was cheering. Some high-ranking cardinals, especially those who hated his reforms, looked uncomfortable. Francis had spent his last months obsessed with peace, especially Gaza and Ukraine. Insiders say he didn't just scribble his Easter speech, he rewrote it over and over, worrying every word like it was a final warning. His 9-word prayer for peace might seem simple, but some insiders claim it was a secret cry, a hint that darker times were ahead. Was he trying to tell us the world was standing on a knife's edge? In private, his words were even sharper. To one-eyed, he said, "I'm ready." To a nurse, he whispered, "Peace is all that matters." To his secretary, he gave a strange order. The church must listen. His final private prayer, spoken alone, chilled those who heard it. "Forgive them, Lord, as I've tried." Forgive who? Leaders? Cardinals? Humanity itself? No one can agree. It feels like he left a coded message behind, a puzzle no one has solved yet. His time as Pope from 2013 to 2025 had been full of huge changes. He called out climate change before most politicians dared. He fought for brotherhood between religions, even risking his life to visit dangerous places. He pushed the church to open its arms wider, but not everyone was happy. Some thought he went too far, others thought he didn't go far enough. Scandals, arguments, big wins, painful failures, his papacy had it all. Some now wonder if he saw an even bigger storm coming. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the boy from Buenos Aires who once swept church floors, stayed humble to the end. Even as Pope, he kept wearing worn-out shoes and living simply. When he died, he didn't want a gold tomb or a royal funeral. He asked for a small resting place at St. Mary Major among the ordinary pilgrims. In a time when leaders chased comfort and power, Francis' final message was almost shocking. Stay simple, stay true, stay ready. Something feels off about Pope Francis' death. Inside the Vatican, whispers about a sealed envelope and a missing Spanish-labeled file refused to die down. Was a warning the next pope? Hiding truths too explosive for public eyes? Some say he even left a secret letter to be opened after his death, but nobody's saying a word officially. And those Easter messages about peace? More and more people think they were hidden warnings, not just prayers. His health struggles only deepen the mystery. He fought through lung problems, nerve pain, even surgery, and still kept going. Maybe he's still trying to tell us something, and maybe we're running out of time to hear it. Do you think he wanted to say something beyond the universe? Do let us know in the comments below, and for more such videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel.